Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Congratulations to the great fans of the city of Philadelphia. I've always been with you.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. This is your phoniest moment yet. It really is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got, look, two of my dearest friends, Dwayne McKnight, Stephanie Clemens, from Philly. I was on the phone with both of them or text last night. Congratulations. I'm happy for I do actually have friends who are Philadelphians. I really do.
But you hate Philadelphia.
Yeah,
You've made it
kinda.
clear you hate Philadelphia, whereas because my son went to school in Philadelphia, I've always liked Philadelphia. We go back and forth on that. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Andy Reid's issues, Nick Sirianni's future, and Luka's debut with the Lakers. But we begin today with an extraordinarily anticlimactic Super Bowl. The final score was Philadelphia 40, Kansas City 22, and it never felt that close. It was 24-0 at the half, ultimately 34-0 in the third quarter. There was no three-peat, so Pat Riley gets no trademark money. Wilbon, what did you make of how the Eagles won this game?
Tony, it was such a beatdown. It reminded me of those games and that string of Super Bowls in the mid and late 80s where the Bears crushed the Patriots and the Niners, killed Denver, and Buffalo lost badly a couple of times, maybe to the Cowboys and Redskins. And it's just like, wow, we went back to that. We went back to it, but the game itself, just defensively. And Tony, I look, I do like great defense. You know that about me. That ain't phony. And so when the Eagles lined up like they did and just beat down the guy in front of them, that to me, what the NFL gave us for 75, 80 years, maybe 90 years, that's real football. The Eagles played the way you ought to. And by the way, Kansas City's defense had nothing to be ashamed of. Patrick Mahomes, we'll get to, put him in such bad position. But wow, that Eagles defense, it just laid waste to the Kansas City Chiefs. I did not think that was going to be possible. Who had that scripted?
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. It was a non-competitive game. The Philadelphia defense smothered the Kansas City offense. That there's really no other word for it. They rushed only 4 guys. They didn't blitz. They got to Mahomes all the time. His receivers were covered all the time. I think Kansas City may have gotten a first down on the first play they had in the first quarter, and no more for the entire first half. They didn't cross the 50, I don't believe, in the first half. When the first half was over, Kansas City had 23 yards and Philadelphia had 24 points. Like it was, people were saying how Steve Spagnuolo could go to the Hall of Fame as a defensive coordinator. Well, if that happens, I hope he's met at the door by Vic Fangio, because Fangio's team was absolutely great. I said, you weren't here on Friday, I said that I thought Philadelphia was the better team. Now, I picked Kansas City to win, but I said I thought Philadelphia was the better team. And I thought if it was a lopsided game, it would be a Philadelphia lopsided game. But I never expected this. People should know this. I texted you while the first half was still going on. I said it's over. And you said, hold on a second. You said, hold on a second. But then on the first possession of the second half, when Kansas City receives the kick and they go sack, marginal scramble punt, it was over.
Done.
They came out of halftime. They didn't do anything different. Nothing changed. I mean, it was,
the simplest
and as
game
you said,
ever.
Yes, their defense was fine. They held Saquon Barkley down. They bottled him up completely. But the other guy won the game. The other quarterback, Jalen Hurts, was coldly efficient.
Tony.
He won the game. And I hope it feels good, Mike, after Saban yanked him in the national championship game to put in Tua.
Oh, yeah, Tony, this was like a prize fight. This is like Mike Tyson walking across the ring and seeing Michael Spinks and just knocking him out, through the ropes. This was that.
Yes.
And so people can talk about this game all they want. They can draw all the squiggly lines and X's and O's for the next 3 or 4 days because they can't get over the end of football. It's over. Okay? And it ended emphatically with that beatdown. My God.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs' bid for the first Super Bowl three-peat fell short. Mahomes turned it over 3 times and said, quote, I put us in a bad spot, close quote. But he was under tremendous pressure the entire game. The Chiefs have been here before. Tony, when they lost the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers in similar fashion, 4 years ago? So what do you now see in the Chiefs' future?
Okay, the competition that they face in the AFC is competition they are familiar with. Buffalo's one of the teams. They always beat Buffalo in the playoffs. Baltimore is one of the teams. Baltimore rarely gets as far as they should in the playoffs. Cincinnati is a maybe. The Chargers are a maybe. There's Pittsburgh. There's Houston. You know, there's stuff. My point would be the Chiefs have beaten all of these teams. The Chiefs can get back to the Super Bowl comfortably because Patrick Mahomes, and I know he gave up 14 points in the first half, but Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. So they have a chance. To me, they have a chance to get back. And I don't think, you know, anything is dire there. I will say this, that they got dinged. In terms of building up the resume as a dynasty, that is pretty much eradicated now because they got beat very badly. So we don't want to use the word dynasty for a while with the Chiefs. And there's another word that I don't want to use, and that is GOAT as it applies to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best football player on the planet. He ain't the GOAT. Okay, he's 3-2 in Super Bowls. Tom Brady is 7-3, and I add parenthetically, Joe Montana is 4-0. In the 3 Super Bowls that Tom Brady lost, it was a total of 15 points. In the 2 Super Bowls Mahomes has lost, it's a total of 40 points. So let's just back off on him being the GOAT. Let's back off on that.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the Chiefs for a second and where they go from here. They go to the draft and they go to the free agency and they come up with offensive line help. That's where they go.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
That's where they need to go. They knew that. And when they had to sort of shuffle that offensive line, you basically create vulnerability in 2 different places along the line. They know that. The Chiefs know how to scout. Look, they weren't picking near the top of the draft, and they went out and got Worthy in the last draft. And what did he do yesterday? Set rookie records for receiving yards and touchdowns in a Super Bowl. So there isn't anything dire here. They lost a bad game. They lost badly. They had a bad night. Even champions have that, Tony. We've seen that. So, you know, to get overly wrought over the Chiefs and the fact that they got smacked, they did, and this ought to make them come back with some sort of vengeance. We've seen this in other sports and even the NFL where a team gets knocked down and guys redouble their efforts and they come back and say, no, we're not having this. I think about the San Antonio Spurs when they had that happen once and they lost to LeBron in Miami and they came back the next year obsessed and they won. The Chiefs can do that. Right. They can.
I'm not saying the fixes are simple, but you've identified them. They have to do better with their offensive line or come up with some creative way to stop a team from only rushing 4 people and beating them so badly because it was humiliating. But they can do that. Let's turn to Eagles coach Nick Sirianni. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia 7 years ago. He was fired 3 years later. Sirianni has received a lot of criticism for his behavior as Eagles coach and his in-game decisions. Yes, he has a Super Bowl win now, but Wilbon, does that end all the questions about him?
Nothing ends anything in the world we live in today. This is not the 1960s or 70s or 90s. Nothing ends anything. So if the Eagles come out next year, not that we expect this, and they go 2-5, there will be, of course, complete bedlam in Philadelphia, from the streets to the radio talk shows to everybody's podcast, saying it's time to get rid of Sirianni. It's a new day. What have you done for me in the last 6 minutes? So, no,
you're right.
Nothing ends anything. And so Sirianni will get paid a lot of money. I hope he hits the circuit, whatever it is. We used to call it the rubber chicken circuit because you go and coaches like Mike Ditka would be at banquets and Joe Gibbs. Now it's something else. You go, you appear wherever you want to appear for a ton of money, usually in television commercials. You might do TV for a year or two. It's never done. Never.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. This has been, as you know, my pet issue for a couple of months because I see these former NFL players go on the Get Up show and they say, Nick Sirianni, you got to fire him. Nick Sirianni is the problem. No. You're the problem. Nick Sirianni is 48-20, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and he hired great coordinators. Fangio's a great coordinator. Kellen Moore's lost him now, but he's a great coordinator. He appears to know what he's doing. He's in that position, Nick Sirianni, though, because of the nature of fandom in Philadelphia, where it is extreme. It is mercurial. that if he goes a couple of bad years, people will want to scream and get rid of him. He's in the same position, Mike, that Ryan Day is in Ohio State. I guarantee you, if Ryan Day loses to Michigan next season, people will say, I don't care about the national championship. We got to beat Michigan. So they're in the same sort of position, and we'll see what happens. Let's take a break. Coming up, what was the bigger deal over the weekend? Jimmy Butler's debut, Anthony Davis's injury, or the Lakers rescinding the Mark Williams trade?
Man. And assuming it's really over with the Jets, where does Aaron Rodgers go from here? You don't want to ask me that question.
The people who were critical of Nick Sirianni in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, that team scored 95 points. 95 points! What more do you want?
There's no criticism.
Go on a get-up show and can them?
When life calls for a little comfort, peanut butter M&Ms.
A natural diamond for every milestone and every moment that makes us, us. Don't miss the savings. Shop the Valentine's Day sale, only at Kay.
I was born with a fire inside, but psoriasis doused my flame until I got clearer skin. With Bimzelx, you could say, I'm back.
Only Bimzelx targets and blocks IL-17A plus F to calm inflammation.
Most people got 100% clear skin, some after the first dose.
Serious side effects like suicidal thoughts and behavior, infections and lowered ability to fight them, liver problems, and inflammatory bowel disease have occurred. Tell your doctor if these happen or worsen, or fevers, chills, muscle aches, or cough occur, or you've had a vaccine or plan to. Before starting, get checked for infections, tuberculosis, and liver problems.
Start to get yourself back with Bimzelx.
Ask your dermatologist about Bimzelx today.
Pick 2 of Arby's beef and cheddar and crispy fish sandwiches for $6.99. It's surf and turf, reef and beef, the old bovine and brine, sea milk and land cookies, the old Arby's. We have the meat.
A dream is a wish your heart makes.
Pickleball Slam 3 is here. Former teammates turn bitter rivals.
I'm coming to take my trophy back.
I'll be facing one of the greats of the game, and also Andy Roddick.
Pickleball Slam 3, live only on ESPN.
Ricky's truck is having trouble starting, but he went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner tests and charges his battery, all for free.
We've never spoken, but you've told us many things. That you love stargazing, hate parallel parking, and occasionally your right foot gets a little heavy. The Lexus ES didn't begin in the studio, it began with you.
But wait, there's Marco's!
Get more of what you crave with Marco's new More menu, starting at just $5 each when you spend $7.99 or more.
But wait, there's more. More sides, more desserts, more pizza!
More variety, more flavor, more Marco's.
Nada Yada Island. This season, 4 new bombshells enter the villa. Not them, 4 free 5G phones. Get 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones, and the 4th line is free, only at Metro.
What if there was no galaxy far, far away, and every second didn't count, and she never did let it go, and no one ever did get murdered in this building? Then that would really suck, wouldn't it? But hey, there is a galaxy far, far away, and every second does count, and she did let it go. And best of all, a whole bunch of people did get murdered in this building.
You gotta be freaking kidding me.
And aren't we lucky for that?
Let's lay one down, Bob. A Complete Unknown is now nominated for 8 Academy Awards.
One take.
Including Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, and Best Picture of the Year.
How does it feel?
A Complete Unknown. Rated R.
Time to find out what's popping with the peeps. Let me get the first one, put the glasses on so I can read it. Biggest deal from the NBA this weekend, Anthony Davis's injury, Jimmy Butler's debut, or the rescinding of the Mark Williams trade?
Wow. I mean, the trade was a wow, but we knew that kid had been hurt, had a history of being injured and not being on the court. And Jimmy Butler was great. I mean, when Steve Kerr said he was a lion out there in his first game, that was a great depiction of Jimmy Butler when he's really on, usually later in the spring, but that's that. But the biggest deal is Anthony Davis, Tony, because with him, and you pointed this out, the moment they made the trade, the moment I first talked to you, you said, wait a minute, they can win if Anthony Davis can be out there, they can get back to the finals. And I may have rolled my eyes, but ultimately I came around to that point of view. But then this is what happens. I don't know who called it this, but this is the full, Sean Powell, that's right, on NBA TV, called it the full Anthony Davis experience. And that's a great way to describe it. Tony, he got 26 and 16 in 3-block shots. He can dominate the game. Yes, with that guy, Dallas can go back to the finals and win, but the full Anthony Davis experience includes limping off the floor. And so that's the biggest deal with giving up Luka is how long can you keep Anthony Davis out there healthy?
Okay, so we're going to disagree on this one because to me, two of the things that happened surprise no one. One is that Anthony Davis gets hurt, and two is that Jimmy Butler plays great when he's happy. Anthony Davis, if he misses 10 or more consecutive games with this latest injury, that will be the 7th time in the last 7 years he has missed 10 or more consecutive games. Fat Luka, by the way, has only missed 10 or more once in that period of time.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler just landed in a new spot. Jimmy Butler's really happy. So Jimmy Butler played great. The problem with Jimmy Butler is keeping him happy. No, Mike, to me, the rescinding of that trade is the biggest deal. Because I thought emphatically when they made that trade, the Lakers had a chance to win. Right now, I thought Mark Williams was everything they needed. So now they don't have a big man, and it's too late to go get a big man. And there's another question here, Mike. How terrible is Mark Williams' body that they rescinded that trade and they sent him back? We need more reporting on this. To me, we need more reporting on this.
Tony,
here we go.
It's like Embiid and it's like Anthony Davis. Not everybody's body is built for the grind of professional sports. Not everybody's built for it.
Zion Williamson. I understand. But
great example.
But this came out of nowhere. This came out of nowhere. Here's a new one.
It did.
Do you think an NFL team will offer Aaron Rodgers a starting job?
Jay Glazer reported this yesterday, Tony, and it deals with the Jets moving on from Aaron Rodgers. My answer is of course, because the NFL is desperate for starting quarterbacks, desperate. There's only, 18 to 20 guys that I would say have to be in the lineup as that team's starting quarterback, respectively, a given Sunday. Maybe 22. That still leaves 10 teams where you're playing musical chairs going, oh, my God, I don't know that we're good enough at that position. So whether he's 40 or 45, if Aaron Rodgers wants to play and he convinces some team sitting in an office, in the corner office, in the coach's office, he can play, they'll sign him. So, yeah, he'll wind up getting an offer to be somebody's starting quarterback. I don't think he'll be any good at it anymore, but he'll have the chance.
So we're going to agree on this because there's a lot of teams that need starting quarterbacks. The Giants, for example, need a quarterback. How awkward would it be to stay in the same building but just change jerseys? I made a list of teams that need the Raiders need a quarterback. They just hired an old head coach. They could hire an old quarterback at this point. Cleveland obviously needs a quarterback. The Saints, I think, need a quarterback. Pittsburgh and Minnesota may end up needing quarterbacks. Tennessee probably needs a quarterback, but they have the #1 pick. So among all of these teams, someone is going to offer Aaron Rodgers something, and it could be a twofer, Mike. It could be a BOGO, because they could get Devontae Adams also, because Aaron Rodgers can still throw to Devontae Adams somewhere, somehow. So I do think he's going to get a job. But I also think, Mike, that much like Phil Mickelson Aaron Rodgers is the author of the end of his own career. What has happened to him in the past 3 years, it's just an unbelievable nosedive considering where he was, you know, in terms of public standing and in terms of quarterback standing. It's unbelievable to me.
But you get old, Tony.
I know about that.
He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to be 41. It's okay.
He is going. Time. I think he wants one more shot. Enough email. Let's take one last break. Still to come, the 2 top-ranked teams in the country. They both go down over the weekend.
And Tony's fave, Joel Embiid, says he may need another knee surgery.
He's not built for it. I mean,
No.
Anthony Davis may not be built. And if you get hurt all the time.
Tonight on SportsCenter at 6 Eastern, Jalen Hurts joins the show to celebrate the Eagles' Super Bowl win. Plus, where the Chiefs went wrong in the final step of their quest to three-peat. And tracking Luka's availability to make his debut alongside LeBron. SportsCenter, 6 Eastern on ESPN.
My Zen garden wasn't comforting enough, so I added peanut butter M&Ms.
So creamy.
And comforting.
Hey, leave my Zen garden alone!
Well, that's not very zen of you.
I'm a work in progress. Peanut butter M&Ms.
Gail, look at your little boo. What happened?
On the Saturdays.
Okay, you gotta be careful, okay?
I know.
Hey, let's get you off your feet. We're gonna get your Medicare prescriptions delivered.
Get help with your Medicare prescription right in your neighborhood.
Spam in a taco? Pork favor. Sizzle, pork, and
Hey guys, there's a change in the air.
2 changes.
2 changes.
The 3-row luxury TX, because everyone should feel like the center of the universe.
Who has more subscriptions?
We're a package deal, baby. And your subscription is my subscription, all right? We have about 100.
We have a lot.
But with Experian app, they can help cancel those subscriptions that we don't even need.
Very helpful.
Download the Experian app now.
Captain, you won't walk away alive. And what makes you think that?
Since when were they red?
You want me? Come and get me!
Stand by for proof of death. Captain America: Brave New World. Rated PG-13. Get tickets now.
Lynn? Are you hiding from used car shopping?
What if I overpaid?
That's nothing to be afraid of.
Show me, Carfax.
Knowing how a car's accident history impacts price means you don't have to overpay.
Way better.
No fear, just Fox. Say show me at Carfax.com.
Okay, little Wendy's hack. If you want a super fresh, high-quality burger every time, tell them you want a hamburger. That's a hack, right? No? A hack-free burger made fresh for you? Gotta be Wendy's.
When you're a small business owner, your to-do list can be a lot.
Super helpful. What are invoices?
Progressive makes it easy to see if you can save money with a commercial auto quote online, so you can get back to all your other to-dos.
Absolutely not.
Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com.
When we started feeding Bogey, the farmer's dog, he lost so much weight. Pre-portioned packs makes it really easy to keep him lean and healthy.
In the morning, he flies up the stairs and hops up on my bed. In the past, he would not have been able to do any of those things.
I bet it feels like pressed against you, strawberry kisses.
Shop the Valentine's Day sale and love the savings. Only at Kay.
You wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
I'm going to Disney World.
With Reynolds Wrap, cooking becomes so easy, you can feel like the chef of your kitchen. Easy prep, easy cook, easy clean. Reynolds Wrap.
Come on, Charlie, use your new door. Let's go. I said go! Silly dog, I'm gonna trade you for a cat.
Red Bull gives you wings.
This is the story of the one
who doesn't just see a broken dock, he sees work stalled to a halt. Thankfully, he has Grainger, offering the scale to deliver fast. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm certain it's level 5.
Are you for imprint certain?
Certainty matters. 4imprint is your home for promo gear to wow clients and inspire your team. Check out 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Happy time, people. Happy 22nd birthday, Max Christie. Everyone knows that the Mavericks sent Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Not everyone knows Max Christie accompanied Davis to Dallas. So far, in 4 games with the Mavs, Christie is scoring 17.7 points a game, which is more than double the 8.8 points Christie was getting for the Lakers. Sometimes throw-ins get a new lease on life. Many years ago, the Knicks traded for Bob McAdoo, and Buffalo threw in Tom McMillan, who was averaging 5.8 points and 3.6 rebounds. In McMillan's first 2 games for the Knicks, he averaged 20 points and 17 rebounds. After 4 poor games, McMillan had 4 straight good games in which he averaged 20 points and 11 rebounds.
Tony, Max Christie's mom, Katrina Hannaford, she played basketball at Northwestern. She's a Wildcat. I mean, Max would have looked great in purple. I don't mean the Lakers purple. I mean Northwestern purple. By the way, his younger brother, kind of sort of in the league, played a few games for the Clippers this season, so maybe, he'll be a late bloomer too and play as well as Big Bro.
You let him go to Michigan State. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, Draymond Green. On this day 8 years ago, Green recorded a triple-double highlighted by 10 steals. Green had 11 rebounds, 10 assists, and those 10 steals, the second highest steals total in NBA history. We won't mention that Green only had 4 points. Golden State just made a great trade too, and Jimmy Butler was definitely not a throw-in. In his Warriors debut, Butler scored 25 points to help Golden State overcome a 24-point deficit and then rout your Bulls. Green said afterwards that Butler gave him great hope that the team could regain its championship swagger.
What a great story that would be. I did like to see Jimmy doing that in Chicago on the floor where he used to do it regularly. Look, Tony, if you can re-energize Steph Curry and Draymond Green and move that team forward, that is one hell of a story. I know it got obscured by the bigger trades, Anthony Davis, Luka, but Golden State playing again at that level, I'm all for that.
Happy trails to games for Auburn and Duke. The 2 teams entered the weekend ranked number 1 and number 2 and both lost. Auburn fell at home to Florida, who had also beaten Tennessee earlier this season when the Vols were number 1. Duke lost at Clemson, getting dominated in the paint. Cooper Flagg struggled early in the game, but still had a chance to tie it with 15 seconds left when he slipped on a wet spot on the floor. It was scary. If Flagg isn't great, Duke doesn't have all that much. Said head coach John Shire after the game, quote, "We put so much on his shoulders. We've got to get his body refreshed, re-energized. We've got to get him back," unquote.
Well, I'm glad that he's not seriously hurt. That's a hard fall he just took. How about Auburn number 1, Alabama number 2? How about that? And they're going to face each other. Pretty interesting stuff in college hoops.
Sort of like the Iron Bowl, except it's basketball and not football. Let's go to the big finish if we could.
Let's do it.
Joel Embiid says he might need another surgery on his left knee after the season.
No.
Your thoughts?
No, another season sort of down the tubes. Like, there's no chance for Philadelphia without a healthy, involved Joel Embiid. There's no chance. I hate that. Niners wide receiver Deebo Samuel has requested a trade for the second time in 3 years. You think it'll happen?
Yeah, they've given him permission with his agent to find a trading partner. At some point, you have to concede. He doesn't want to be there. Albert Pujols and the Dominican team won the Caribbean Series. Are you impressed?
My takeaway, Tony, is that Pujols apparently would like to manage in the majors. How about that? Maybe the Cardinals, if they don't get off to a great start. I'd be for them not getting off to a good start. St. John's beat UConn, knocking the 2-time defending champs out of the top 25. That's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it was at UConn. St. John's is good. Last one, Ben Simmons joining the Clippers. Is that significant?
I don't know, Tony. The Clippers are a dark horse. If they get a little help and maybe some bench help, maybe that helps them, but I don't know that they're going all the way to the top of the Western Conference.
You know the standings of every team in the league. We're out of time. Trying to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the app or Apple Podcasts. It's just good Ben Simmons is still in the league and playing. He's gonna whisper.
I sort of root for Ben Simmons. I do.
Tony and Mike with much more on tonight's PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon, are you more impressed with the Eagles or more disappointed in the Chiefs?
Oh, more impressed with the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles came out and did an impersonation of Mike Tyson, walking across the ring saying, have some of this. And I'm impressed with those teams, Tony. Big, strong, tough teams led by great defense. And there's a group they're in. There's a small fraternity. I'm not going to name all of them, but the 85 Bears, of course, the greatest defense of all time. The 2000 Ravens with Ray Lewis. The 2002 Buccaneers with Sapp and Derek Brooks. The 2013 Seahawks, the Legion of Boom, beat down Peyton Manning and Denver 43-8. Those are the teams that impressed me in modern Super Bowl times. All those steel curtain teams back in the day when the offense just came along for the ride. Terry Bradshaw, throw 8 or 10 passes if you have to. We're going to go with Mean Joe Green and the boys. I love that kind of football. So the Philadelphia Eagles get all of the credit from me.
Yeah, so these two things go hand in hand because it's a zero-sum game. The more impressive the Eagles are, the more disappointed you are in the Chiefs. I mean, the Eagles came out early on. They dominated Kansas City's offensive line early on. They got to Mahomes time after time after time. The great statistic is at the end of the first half, the Chiefs had gained only 23 yards, and Philadelphia already had 24 points. It's amazingly impressive. And in terms of offense, they had a terrific offense as well. I mean, Jalen Hurts was coldly efficient out there. He had touchdowns passing, touchdowns running. I mean, it was so impressive what the Eagles did, Mike.
Yes.
In the two most important playoff games they played, in the NFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl, they scored 95 points.
They piled
just
it on.
Absolutely dominating.
Yeah.
And it's important to say they didn't do this against some ordinary team that got lucky to get to the Super Bowl. They did this against a team with 2 straight Super Bowl victories. So, yeah, sure, it is. You take the optimistic side, that the Eagles are more impressive. You don't take the other side about Kansas City being more disappointing.
Not in the beatdown that was as thorough as the Eagles put out there. I would raise a glass to the Eagles, but I don't have a glass. I'll let you do it.
And
That's
you
it.
also hate Philadelphia fans and the
We're
city.
done. No, I don't. Stop saying that.
Sure
I
you
love
do.
the Sixers.
You do.
Love Joel Embiid and the Sixers, and you don't. We're done. Back to you.
I don't.